7:30 at night.
I'm cool. 2 hours a day is enough. Let's go to these. Tonight we get a possible Eastern Conference final matchup. KD and the Nets take on Giannis and the Bucks in Milwaukee. We'll get to see the debut of Stephen A. simulcast NBA in Stephen A's world.
That's right.
A beautiful mind that is.
You're not invited, and neither is Tatiana.
Oh my
Neither
God.
one of y'all are invited.
The Bucks have gotten off to a perfect start while the Nets are still working to put it all together. Ben Simmons has fouled out in 2 of 3 games. Tim Legler back here with us.
I thought he was gone. I'm very happy to see my brother Tim. And by the way, you just notice the dapper blazer there, the suit jacket. He doesn't wear a tie right now, but he looks good. He looks good.
Appreciate it. Hey, listen, I'm just trying to keep up with you guys. You know that. Come on.
I got you.
Come on. Hey, am I going to be in Stephen A's world? I want to come in Stephen A's world, man.
Jeez.
Exactly, Legs. Exactly. Matt Duck, I'll start with you. Will the Nets be as dangerous as the Bucks in the East?
They have the potential to be, but I got to see a lot more than a couple games where they haven't played that well. Last year, of course, they lost a little of their swag. We all know they getting swept by the Celtics. Here's the problem with the Nets. I don't think – no, listen, they barely beat Toronto. They got blown out by New Orleans. They gave up 134 points to Memphis. This Nets team, to get their swagger back, to put a little fear in the whole league. Wow, look at the Nets. Durant, Kyrie, they're into it. Simmons is playing well. They're a threat. They're going to need a lot of these kind of games and good performances to get to that level again. So just because they are playing the Bucks tonight, and it's a bigger game for them than it is for Milwaukee, because the Nets need some of these testimonial games, win a few, to make you feel good about them. And I think that for that reason, all these big games early in the year for the Nets are much bigger than they are for the other teams.
Go ahead, Tim.
I've known both of you guys forever, and I'm telling you, I love you both, but I'm going to hold both of your feet to the fire all year because I was on the set with you guys last week, and you both had the Nets going to the finals. Now, it just so happens they're going to play the team tonight that actually is going to go to the finals, the Milwaukee Bucks, and Giannis is going to be MVP of the league. Here's why these two teams, to me, are on different planes. Number one, dog hit on the defensive issues. They've given up 130 twice already. And if Memphis didn't start milking possessions at the end of that game the other night to eat some clock, they would have easily been over 140 points. And I understand, look, the Nets are not whole. Joe Harris just came back. They're missing Seth Curry. So they're missing some shooting. But that's not ultimately what's going to be their downfall. The downfall is going to be the fact that there is absolutely no physicality by this team whatsoever defensively. They know one way to win. They've got to outscore you. It's got to be a shootout, and their 2 best players are going to have to go off to make that happen. And guess what? They did against Memphis, and they still lost the game, and I think that's going to be a problem for them all year. Another issue for the Nets. This Ben Simmons thing is going to get to the point where it's going to weigh on this team, and here's what I mean by that. You just cannot have a guy that's a primary ball handler that has absolutely no thought at any point of making an aggressive play offensively. Do you guys realize he's committed more fouls in 3 games than he has taken shots? That's your starting point guard. So, and they think, well, you doesn't have to shoot. You heard that talk at the beginning of the season. They've got enough offense. Just come in and do your thing defensively. Well, they've given up 130 plus twice with Ben Simmons on the court. Eventually, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, I think that this situation with having a guy that's out there that plays the way he does offensively with no real impact, I think eventually it's going to be something that's going to become a distraction for this team. So they've got defensive issues. They've got an issue with their starting point guard, I think, being exactly in the place he was when he finished up in Philadelphia, which is, I think, mentally a little bit fried in terms of his aggressiveness and confidence. That's going to be something that's going to weigh them down. The Bucks, to me, can beat you multiple ways. They already held Philly to 88 points the first game of the year. They can beat you by getting stops. They can beat you by Giannis being spectacular. They've got 3-point shooting. They're still waiting on Middleton and Connaughton to come back. For me, the Bucks are clearly a better team than the Nets, and they will be all year, barring some sort of catastrophic injury to one of their top guys.
Well, first of all, number one, this wouldn't be the first. Last year wasn't the first time. It won't be the last that you and I disagree. We've been buddies and been disagreeing for 2 decades. I love you to death, and I don't know anybody that knows more basketball than you, so I love going back and forth with you about this stuff. Let's get that out the way first. Number 2. You know basketball well enough to know where the hell I'm going when I say the Brooklyn Nets, I think they're going to the finals. First of all, they're not going to stand pat. These troubles early on are not surprising. Ben Simmons is going to take a while to matriculate into the proceeding things. The other night when he fouled out of the game, I actually was happy because he had an attitude about it, because he wanted to be on the court. Y'all understand it's a miracle. I mean, that in and of itself is a huge, huge plus. That he wanted to be on the damn court, and he was mad that he fouled out. See, it starts there, baby. It starts there. We saw Kyrie and KD drop 38, 37 apiece. Now, it didn't help that Ja Morant and Bane dropped 38 apiece. That's a different subject for another day. What I'm saying to you about it is this. We know they need a big body. We know they need some girth because they're simply too thin. And I anticipate that they're going to make a move to get something big on their front line, just something to ward off some of the bigger teams. But offensively, I believe they're unstoppable when Kyrie and KD get flowing. All right. Here's the biggest thing, Tim Legler, and I want to say this, and it's just a prediction. I don't think Steve Nash is going to last this season. I think we all know that he had no experience. Steve Nash is a nice guy, no knock against him. He's just never coached on any level. And the reality is that even though he's approaching his third season in Brooklyn, the fact of the matter is he's never had an opportunity to really, really coach the Brooklyn Nets because you haven't had. You couldn't get James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant on the floor at the same time. Once you move Harden, you couldn't get KD, Kyrie, and Ben Simmons on the floor together, okay? Kyrie with the vaccination issue, Ben Simmons with his mental health issues and all of this other stuff. So some can make the argument it hasn't been fair to Steve Nash. But where that all changed was when Kevin Durant reportedly asked to be traded unless Steve Nash and Sean Marks were gone. Now, I think that's incredibly unfair to Sean Marks because he gave you a squad that's a championship contender. We can't deny that. But I think he made the mistake with the wrong coach. And I'm not ruling this out because Adrian Wojnarowski, our ultimate NBA insider, informed us all that the Boston Celtics said if Ime Udoka has a job opportunity elsewhere, they will not stand in his. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.